Now that we've covered all of the letters, we need to discuss two areas of fingerspelling, expressive and receptive. Expressive fingerspelling is the action of fingerspelling a word to another person. To start with, you want to be sure that your elbows are resting comfortably at your sides. Rather than moving your hand from left to right like you do when you write a word, you are going to leave your arm in one place. You're also going to hold your arm still rather than bounce up and down when you spell. If it helps, you can imagine that you just stuck your arm in concrete. If you need an additional reminder when you first start, you can also use your non-dominant hand to hold your elbow in place, but be sure to take it off and practice with both hands once you get used to it. A question that will come up once you start fingerspelling is what to do when you have a double letter in a word. There are two options. You can either do a slight bounce or a slide. Either way is acceptable as long as it is not distracting and as long as you can tell that it is a double letter. If you choose to bounce, you will move your hand from the place that you end the letter slightly up and over. If you were typing this, it would be like moving over one space. You don't want to do a big jump and end up over here with the next letter way off to the side. You want to move your hand just enough to have it be noticeable. Previous students have asked me if you leave your hand the same when you move it over or if you open it up and remake it. I always tell them that mostly you will leave your hand in the same hand shape. Once in a while, I will find myself slightly opening up my hand as if I was going to switch to a different letter and then closing it back into the same letter a second time. It also depends on if you do a slight bounce or a slide. When I bounce over is generally when I slightly start to open my hand. When I slide, I generally leave my hand just as it is. Let's try an example. The word moon, for instance. You would make the letter M, and then the same spot, make the letter O. Next, while slightly unforming and reforming the letter O, you will bounce one space away from your body. Then in the same spot, you will make the letter N. Ultimately, it will end up being the M and the O in the same spot, and then a slight bounce or slide, and then in the same spot, the second O in the letter N. M-O-O-N. This brings up an important point. When you do have to bounce or slide within a letter, you do have to move your hand. At the end of each word, to show that it is a separate word, you will also move over. For this, you need to know which direction to move. Remember to always move to the outside. Because my right hand is my dominant hand, I will move over to the right side away from me. If you are left-handed, you will always move away from your body to the left. That also goes for any signs that have a direction as well. If a sign starts in front of your body in what is called neutral signing space, this area in front of your body, it moves across your body. If you sign with your left hand, you will still sign so that it goes across your body. If I sign something that moves from the outside, away from me, toward neutral signing space, you will sign it the same way. It's helpful to think in terms of away from your body and across your body, etc., rather than left and right, so that it's easier to translate into how you will decide which direction to move. Another thing that you need to know about expressive fingerspelling is that you need to slightly pause after the first letter of your word and then blend the rest of the letters together. Now, you still need to make each letter fully recognizable, but you also need to loosen up your hand a bit so that they flow together. Think of it like the difference between printing letters and writing in cursive. In printing, you make each letter separate and then move on to the next letter. In cursive, you fully make your first letter, and then the rest of your letters are connected to it and run together. You can still tell them apart, or at least you should be able to for the most part, but this is not always the case. We'll discuss more about receptive fingerspelling and guessing from context soon.